everyone, welcome to Kelly's Creative Dream Studios. This is Kelly and I am a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in South Central Missouri. And we have been working with the Flowering Tulips bundle this month. And today, as part of our series, we're going to be making something that you can use in a journal or a junk journal. And so I've decided to use, we are making excuse me. I've gone through about 4 of these this morning and trying to get this simple little pocket right. The prototype went through without a hitch, and everything else has fought with me. Every time I've tried to do another one, it has fought with me. So I'm running out of paper to use. So I have one piece here that is 10 inches by 9 inches, scored at the 5-inch mark, to give you a slightly larger page than a standard traveler's notebook journal. And on the inside, we have this flip-out pocket with a belly band and embellished with our tulip and some of our little butterflies. Now this Flowering Tulips and the Flowering Fields Designer Series paper, the butterflies, all of that goes away the end of May. So you're going to want to make sure that you hop on the bus and get this Flowering Tulip stuff. I love this background paper for this. I thought it was a great background for this. Unfortunately, with all the trial and errors this morning, I am now out of a big enough piece of this paper to make the pockets. So we're improvising now. So keep this in mind. We'll come back and do a comparison in a minute. But what you're going to need is a pocket that's punched the right direction. I'm trying to make sure I do have one here. This one is punched the right direction. So let's go with this. This one is, and I don't know why I took it apart, but what we did was we cut a piece that was 7 inches by 5 inches. And don't worry about measurements and score lines. I'll have that all on the blog post later this afternoon. Scored at 1 inch, 3 3/4, and 6 1/2 inches. Okay? And then you turn it this way and you score at the 1/4 inch mark. And you can see where I had that scored. After we scored it, we cut from, this is your front side. Okay, 1 inch, 3 3/4, 6 1/2. Flip it over, fold everything up, and then you're going to cut from that 1 inch flap over to your center mark and snip that out. Okay, I'd love to do that for you again, but I'm out of paper. I've done several of these this morning, and nothing seemed to want to work right. Okay, so after you get to this point, while this is, before you glue this down, I want to make sure I'm going the right direction here. This is going to be in your journal just like this. So this is the front, okay? I'm going to show you a trick. Find the center, open it back up, and find the center of this 5 1/2. And then make your little registration mark. Let me do a sample. That one I can do a sample on. So say this is the front of your card. Okay. You would come in here and find the center of that and make a little tick mark. Okay. Then you're going to, if you don't have like a 1/2 inch circle punch, which Stampin' Up! Does not carry anymore, you can use your heart. Now, it's not going to be a perfect half circle because you've got a little bit of a dip here, but you're going to look at the point of your heart and this first little line right here in your punch, okay? This little line is what you're going to line up with that tick mark you made, and this you're going to line up with the edge of your paper. So you'll take it like this, slide your paper in there, line that line up with the tick mark, and then line your paper up with that tip, with the edge of your paper, just like that. It's not going to be a complete perfect half circle because your heart isn't a half circle. But it will give you the same effect. just like that. And there's your notch, okay? And that's, you take a look and play with your punches and see what else they will do besides just the standard punch, okay? Okay, now we have this. Now we can glue this together. And I'm using my Tombow adhesive. Now you're going to fold, this is where you're at. You're going to fold this in, but you're not gluing to this, okay? You're going to fold them in, run your glue. And the reason you can see mine's demolished is because I glued it down and then realized I hadn't made my circle. And you need to punch that circle, need to cut that notch before you glue this down. Trust me on this one, okay? Okay, so now you have, this is the first half inch, this was your first inch score line that we did. It gets glued into your journal, and then this folds over just like this, okay? Now, all my other colors were set up for this one, and I utilized, I didn't like the Poppy Parade, but I really liked how Flirty Flamingo went with this, so that's what I used. But that's not the color scheme we have going here, is it? We have our Highland Heather. So let's pull that one out. Let's pull Highland Heather out, or ooh, let's pull Rich Razzleberry. Let's pull out Rich Razzleberry. That one is really pretty. As soon as I find which box I have it in, there it is. Because Rich Razzleberry is one of our colors, and I really like that darker one. So let's pull our Rich Razzleberry out. Just like that. And I'm going to show you a tip on getting your colors. Okay, so I'm using, you're going to need a scrap piece of white. I'm using Rich Razzleberry on my Poppy. And I'm going to need 2 of these, unless I want to put one on the back. And you can't reverse them. So I'm just going to do this. Like that. And actually, I think I will do a ghost one. And I'll show you why in a minute. And then we need a third one of those. Okay. And that's the Rich Razzleberry. Now, once you have these on here, before you do anything else, you're going to come in with your water brush. Because these are water-based inks, once you stamp with them, then you can come back in with your water brush and spread that color around and get a watercolor effect with your stamped image. Just pull your color out into your flower, and it'll tone that white down and give it more of that watercolor effect. Okay, just pull from your color out with your water brush. If you don't have the water brushes, I will link them down below, but you can use just a standard, very soft little paintbrush like comes in your kids' kits. Dipped in a little bit of water. You don't want to get too crazy. And don't be tempted to dab off the excess water. Let it dry. Because once you dab it off, you're going to wind up pulling that color off as well. So just leave it alone. And I'm not worried about painting that one. You'll see why in a minute. And then I'm coming back in with my Memento Black. And the center for those tulips, we're going to go there, and we're going to go there, and that takes care of that. Okay, now I think you can see everything. I'm going to sit down here for a minute and cut this out really fast. While I'm cutting, now I don't have the dies for this bundle. You can get the dies. I don't mind fussy cutting. For all the more that I'm going to use these, I don't mind fussy cutting. I'm okay with that. Now, I'm going to cut that one out. Just like that. Get my pieces out of the way. I'm going to blow on that a little bit and let it dry before I stick my finger into it. And while they're drying a little bit, let's go back and cut out this one. And let's see if this will work. I'm not interested in the color on this one, but I want to try something. Okay. Remember to hold your scissors, turn your piece of paper. Let your paper do the cutting for you, okay? Now let's pull this one out and get it cut out. And I think I can make it work. Now yes, I could have had the dies for this, but I didn't anticipate using this that much. And for all the more I would use it, fussy cutting is fine with me. Because the only thing I'm going to fussy cut are these larger pieces. And they cut, as you can see, they cut really quick. So let's come in here with this one. And I do a lot of fussy cutting for my junk journals. So this part doesn't bother me at all. If you don't like to fussy cut or think that you will use this bundle a lot, get the 10% discount by getting the dies and the stamp set together. I highly recommend that. Okay. Now, the reason I did not worry about this one is because it's the perfect backing for this to put on my tag. This one's going to go on our belly band on the front. Okay, so let's open this up. Now our belly band, I figured, was 2 7/8 by 1 1/4. And it's going to be about 2 3/4 actually. But what do we want to use for the belly band? That would be the question. That would be the question. And I've got all kinds of scraps over here that I'm playing with. The green would work okay. Plain purple would work okay. Let's do a plain purple. Let's do a plain purple. So it needs to be, what did I say? 2 3/4. So I guess we aren't done with the trimmer. Let's do 2 3/4. And if you wanted, read the directions, get the measurements. And I'm going to cut this over just a little bit because I want to make sure that I have enough. And I cut it 1 1/4 inches wide. Because here's the thing about cutting it a little longer than I think I need. I can always trim it off. It's not a major thing. And as we've learned, it's only paper. See, that'll go right there. And yes, it's going to come over a little bit, but that's okay. It gives me room to fussy a little bit. So here's what I do if I'm not sure about a measurement and I need to glue. I will glue the side that I'm sure of, this one over here. I will glue that one, and then I'm going to lay this down here on my paper and see where my edge is, and then lay my glue down here accordingly. Okay, lay my glue down there accordingly. So when I flip it over, and I can use my grid paper here to line everything up flat, make sure everything is straight. And then I can come back and trim this off. No big deal. Okay. And then I did a couple of the leaves. I did one in Pear Pizzazz and one in, thought I did it in Soft Succulent. I guess I did do it in Soft Succulent. So now let's come back here on our white scrap and do one of each of the leaves. I did both the same leaf, but 2 different colors. And we're going to stamp that one down. Let me see. Actually, I didn't do it in Soft Succulent. I take that back. I did one in full ink, and then I did one in a ghost stamp. So it's just a hair lighter, but it's still Pear Pizzazz. Okay? I've been playing with this so long this morning, I'm trying to remember what I did do. And I have 2 more videos to shoot for you guys today. It's going to be a picnic. Okay, so now I'm going to come back, cut my leaves out. And if you watched yesterday, remember I had a gluing trick for you, and we're going to do that gluing trick again today with using the silicone mat. I love my silicone mat. In fact, I got Bob one for Christmas. He uses it down in the man cave for mixing a 2-part epoxy on. Instead of trying to use the little plastic tray that they give them with the 2-part epoxy over and over again, now whatever he doesn't use, he can just peel off out of the way. So let's bring in our silicone mat that is laying here amongst everything somewhere. Okay. And we're going to figure out about where we want to put those. And they're going to go this way. And all I did was put a little dot of glue on the bottom of the first leaf. And then overlaid this one so it would come where I wanted it to come. And I guess I may have put it in out there backwards, but we'll see. Just like that. Okay. And then we're going to come back and put another dot of glue on top of that one. Just like that. And position our flower. Okay. And we're just going to let that set and hang out for a minute. It is a gloomy, cold day in the Ozarks today. My poor cherry blossom bush outside my office window is really struggling to bloom. My cherries have bloomed, and I'm not sure anything's going to survive this. Okay, I've got that set. Now I'm going to flip it over, and now I can position some dimensionals on here, just like this. It just seems like my fingers do not want to work for me today. Now I keep a little cup. This is actually one of those cookie snack cups. I spray painted it in the teal to match my office. And I keep it on my desk for tossing those little bits of paper. Okay. Now I can put this back where it belongs so I don't lose it again. And then this one's going to go right here. Now we have one more thing we're going to add to this pocket. And that is some of our little butterflies. So I'm using the spatula end of my take your pick tool. And I started with this one up here at the top. And then just kind of curved them around. So it looked like they were off in flight across here. Just like that. Those are also in that spring catalog and are going to go bye-bye. Okay, so there's that. Our pocket is done. Now let's do our tag. Now our tag is, where did I put my tag measurement? 4.5 by 2 3/8. So let's find one that goes good in here. Gives us our back to write on. This one might be trickier. Let me see what I've got up here in full sheets. Now I could use just a piece of Highland Heather cardstock. That would work. I really don't want to use the green. Let's go ahead and use the backs. Well, no, I don't like that one. I don't like that one. It's not what I want for my other part that's going to show. So, don't like the blue. I guess maybe that purple is what we're going to have to go with. And I guess it'll work. So, excuse me. So we need to cut a piece of this. Let me make sure I don't have a scrap first before I cut into another big one. I don't think I do. I think I've about butchered everything I can butcher this morning. Okay. So we need this. We want to make sure our tulips are going the right direction. So we want to turn it and cut the length first. And the length for this would be 4.5. Okay, so cut that 4.5 off first. So you know you've got your length. Then turn it and we are 2 3/8. 1, 2, 3/8. Okay, there's that. And then I'm going to use my corner rounder, because here's the thing that I found. These little corners will hang up in your pockets when you're going down. If you round off the corners of your tags, they will go in and out of your pockets much smoother. Okay? And now we're going to come back to this, and we're going to put a little dollop of glue. Make sure it's on the bottom of that, and so we're going to put it like the bottom half of the flower, just like that, just enough. Bring my silicone mat back in here really quick, just enough to secure that to the front, just like that. And see how that's dried, how that color has come out on that rich razzleberry after we did the watercoloring with it. it automatically gives you your shading that way. Stamp, instead of stamping with the tuxedo black, if you want to bring in color, stamp with the color you're going to use and then bring it out. And then we're just going to line this one back up. Now we may have to trim just a little bit because remember, this wasn't die cut, it was fussy cut. And now we have the tag that goes in our pocket, just like that. And I'm going to flip this over. Actually, I think because I've got one here, I think I'm going to hold off securing this in, but it would get glued right there, and then it would flip. So you could put anything else on here that you wanted. If you wanted to add another journaling spot here by gluing in just some plain white paper or some lined paper, you could do that. But then it's going to go into the journal just like that. But I'm going to reserve this and put it on one of the plain sheets that you will see probably next Friday. I'm going to get this order for Stampin' Up! Placed today so that hopefully I'll have more paper in here by next week. So when I place an order on a Friday, it's always touch and go as to whether it gets in here on time, but we're going to give it a shot. So that is it for me for today. I will be back here tomorrow with a pocket scrap video, and it's a good thing we're doing pocket scrapbooking because these little pieces are about all I have left to go in those 2x3 2x3 and 4x6 pockets. In the meantime, remember, like, share, and subscribe, and as always, creative blessings.